Alright, in this lesson we're going to continue to talk about solving inequalities. In the past lessons we've talked about solving inequalities by adding and subtracting and solving inequalities by multiplying or dividing. What we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to combine those lessons and talk about solving multi-step inequalities. So in the past, when we solved inequalities that had one operation, either addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, you used inverse operations to isolate the variable. You also used inverse operations to solve inequalities that have more than one operation. So in other words, sometimes you need to simplify the inequalities before solving for the variable by either combining like terms or by using the distributive property. Okay? And just as a reminder, combining like terms means that you combine all the terms that have the same exponent raised to the same power. In other words, if you have 3x plus 4x, if you combine these like terms, you end up with 7x. All right. The distributive property says that if I have a number multiplied times an addition or subtraction expression inside parentheses, you distribute this number that's on the outside of the parentheses to everything inside. So a times x and a times y. You end up with ax plus ay. And we've talked about this in the past. Okay. Also remember that from our lesson, our previous lesson, remember that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality symbol. So pause the video and copy these notes into your notebook, and then we'll do some examples. All right, so remember the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide this, okay? And this is just same as solving an inequality. So we're going to do the order of operations backwards. In other words, we're going to add or subtract first. So we're going to subtract 14 from both sides. All right, so that cancels out. You have 7s is greater than negative 35 minus 14 is negative 49. And then the second step is to divide by 7. So you're the inverse operation of the multiplication. You end up with, and the 7 is a positive. So we're just going to keep the same inequality symbol, and we end up with s is greater than negative 7. The next example that we're going to do, draw our line down through here. Once again, we have addition and multiplication here. So we're going to subtract the 5 from both sides. Minus 5 minus 5. Okay. We end up with 2r is less than or equal to 30 minus 5 is 25. All right. And we're going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. And we're left with r is less than or equal to 25 over 2, or 12 and a half. Or if you plug it into the calculator, 12.5. All right. Next one. Continue. Draw the line. Here we have a subtraction, so we're going to add 22. Add 22. Cancels out. Okay. We're left with 18n is less than or equal to 54. All right. Divided by 18. Divided by 18. So n, this is 18 is a positive, so to keep the same inequality symbol, 54 divided by 18, I believe, is 3. I'm going to double check. 54 divided by 18 is indeed 3. All right. All right. So in this one we have subtraction and division. Okay. So undo the subtraction first by adding 6. All right, so cancels out. We're left with y divided by 2 is greater than 7. So we're going to multiply, under the opposite of division is multiplication. So multiply both sides by 2. The 2's are positive, so this stays the same. So y is greater than 14. All right. Next example, we have addition and we have division. So the inverse operation for addition is subtraction. So minus 1 cancels out. H divided by 7 is greater than -1 minus 1 is -2. Okay, so we multiply both sides by 7. Okay, the 7 is a positive here, so H is greater than -14. Remember, we keep the same inequality symbol because we multiply by a positive, even though our answer over here is a negative. We multiplied by a positive number, so that means the inequality symbol stays the same. All right, this one. So we have addition and we have division again. So subtract 1, cancels out the 1. M divided by -2 is greater than or equal to 6. We multiply both sides by a -2. Okay, so the -2's cancel out over here. So M, now because we multiplied by a -2, we have to flip this inequality symbol around, and we end up with M is less than or equal to -12. All right. All right, so this one's a little bit different in several ways. Okay, here we have the variable on the right-hand side, and it doesn't make any difference. We still solve it the same exact way. We have addition and we have division. Opposite addition is subtraction, so -8, -8. The 8's canceled out here. 5 take away 8 is -3, greater than or equal to m divided by -3. So to undo the division, we multiply both sides by the denominator, which is -3, so it cancels out here. Okay, and we multiplied by a negative number, so that means this flips like that. Okay, so it goes from greater than or equal to less than or equal to. -3 times -3 is a positive 9, so 9 is less than or equal to m. Well, we're sort of used to having our variable on the left-hand side, so we can flip it around, m and 9, but if we flip it around, we have to flip your inequality symbol around. Oops, I say that and then I didn't. Okay, so we have to flip the inequality symbol around. We notice the big N goes to the m. Okay, so that's the way that I usually keep track of it. If the big N goes to the variable, then you keep it the same way if you write the variable first, or vice versa. Okay. Next one. The next one we're talking about collecting like terms. Okay, so here we have a 6y and we have a -2y. All right, so we just combine these two. So 6y minus 2y is 4y. Just bring this -5 down. -5 is less than 11. All right, so now we just solve it. Opposite of subtraction is addition, so we'll go +5 plus 5. 5's cancel out. We're left with 4y is less than 16 divided by 4. And we end up with y is less than 4. Okay? And the last one, we're talking about one where we have to use the distributive property. So we're going to distribute this 2 to the -3x. Okay? And we're going to distribute the 2 to the 1. So 2 times -3x is -6x plus 2 times 1 is 2, which is greater than or equal to -11. All right, solve it. Opposite of addition is subtraction, so go minus 2, cancels out. Negative 6x is greater than or equal to negative 11 minus 2 is negative 13. All right, divided by negative 6. Okay, now we divided by a negative number here, so that means we have to flip your inequality symbol around. Okay, so x is less than or equal to a negative divided by negative is a positive 13 over 6. All right, and if we use a calculator, we end up with a 13 divided by 6 is equal to 2.167. So x is less than or equal to 2.167. All right, round it off to three decimal places. Okay, so that does it for this lesson. If you have any questions at all about what we went over, make sure that you ask me any questions, and we'll talk to y'all later on.